Welcome to Portsmouth Now. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. Well, Halloween is over, November is here, and the holiday season is just weeks away. And soon we'll begin that annual ritual. You know the one I mean. Getting together with friends and family and enjoying food, lots and lots of food, and feeling guilty by New Year's Eve because you know you've put on some weight. And so you make a New Year's resolution and you maybe start a diet, join a gym, only to give up by the end of the month. Well, in today's show, we thought we'd get a jump on all of that and look at some healthy changes we can make in our lives going into the holidays. So put down that donut, pick up an apple or a banana, sit back and join us for this episode of Portsmouth Now. Welcome back to Portsmouth Now. Getting healthy and staying in shape can begin with some very small, very simple lifestyle changes. Healthy Portsmouth is a citywide initiative dedicated to improving the health of citizens. Let's head over to Port Norfolk, where Amy Paulson will tell us a little bit about the initiative and also suggest some little lifestyle changes that can make a big difference when it comes to our health. Thanks for joining us today. So tell me, what is Healthy Portsmouth?
Healthy Portsmouth has 5 goals, the first of which is to improve walkability and bikeability in the city, to improve breastfeeding support, to improve school health and child health, to decrease tobacco smoke exposure, and to inspire and encourage healthy activities. And one of our projects related both to walkability and inspiring healthy activities is our Portsmouth Walks program. That program, we did a demonstration project here in Port Norfolk to work with the community to designate some walking areas. It's what we call a destination-oriented urban walking trail. And the idea is that there are places to walk along this route. The neighbors got together, the Civic League worked with us to identify where the route should go. We installed new crosswalks in some areas, new curb ramps. The city also installed bike lanes along one leg of it. But it takes you to 2 parks, a recreation center, several churches. There's some convenience stores along the way. And the idea is to make walking a priority here in Port Norfolk and hopefully other areas of town, but as well to make the healthy choice the easy choice, to make it easier to walk in Port Norfolk to get somewhere than it is to drive. One
of the programs that you were telling me that Healthy Portsmouth is involved in is basically working with kids learning about swimming and water safety.
Yeah, our great partner, the Portsmouth YMCA, has already a program that's been going on for several years called Swim Gym. And that program is fantastic. It basically is a partnership with Portsmouth Public Schools, and they work with all the second graders to come out to the YMCA. They learn healthy living skills, but then they also learn basic water safety in several lessons. And it's very important because Portsmouth is defined by our waterways and our flooding and those things that expose children to water both on purpose and sometimes accidentally. But also, swimming is a life sport. It's a great way to get exercise and be active, and so it's a lifelong healthy living skill to be able to swim. And so not only are these kids safer in Portsmouth, but they also have developed a lifelong fitness skill that will continue with them, and we're hoping to continue to expand that program every year until we're able to hopefully accommodate all the children in that program and maybe more.
That is fantastic. That's fantastic. Now, people enroll their kids in sports. They enroll them in swim classes, soccer, all things, the idea of getting them out, getting them active, and that's a good thing. And then, now you told me earlier that you have coached soccer, but we have this cultural habit, and that is we get the kids together, and then after they've worked out a little bit, played around, we feed them.
Ironically enough, that most children who are playing recreational level sports consume more in calories than they actually burn during the sporting event. And and parents think, well, I got the Capri Sun fruit juice and the 100-calorie snack pack, and but when you add those things together, it's usually ends up being about 300 calories, and that's actually more than the child burned in the activity. And so, we actually would like to challenge a lot of our partners, not only sports leagues, but also youth groups and other groups that work with children and adults. Think about how you're feeding people, and if they don't need to eat, do you really need to feed them? And think about what expectations we're creating when we celebrate with food always. Do we then start to associate for those children feeling good and accomplished with eating? And how does that maintain some of the problems that we're having in this country with what is an epidemic of obesity. I mean, the epidemic of obesity is by far the most significant public health crisis that we've had in this country since smoking.
Yeah.
It's serious. We're scared of diseases that we think about, like measles and that kind of thing, but we should be very, very scared right now about the weight in this country and what it means for chronic disease and diabetes and heart disease and stroke. And it's neighborhoods like this here in Port Norfolk and Portsmouth that are really trying to change that tide and make it easier for people to make healthier choices, to walk more, to be more active, hopefully to make better choices about food. When we celebrated this Portsmouth Walks opening in conjunction with the Civic League here, we had a big event, and the farmers market for Portsmouth actually came down here to Port Norfolk for that day. It's about bringing people together, it's about helping them be more active, and it's about helping them find better alternatives for healthy eating.
All right, well, thanks for joining us today and telling us about that. As Amy mentioned, one of the most troubling trends in the U.S. is the increase of childhood obesity. We're going to head over to City Park and talk to Jessica Mullins from the city's health department. And she's going to tell us about some of the changes we can make in our family's routine to help combat childhood obesity. I'm standing here in Portsmouth City Park with Jessica Mullins, who is the senior health educator at the Portsmouth Health Department. Thanks for joining us, Jessica.
Thank you for having me.
So, childhood obesity is an epidemic in this country.
Very much so.
Can you give us some of the stats on that? I mean,
Well, it's really actually kind of difficult, especially locally, because not many of us have been able to collect them, because all really we have is the body mass index, which is a height weight comparison. But for the most part, we stand right there with the national average, with our adults being about 35% obese or at risk of becoming obese, and then our children are right about the same. And it's a growing statistic. This is not one that we're watching decrease. We're not watching it even maintain. It is slowly increasing year to year.
and so how's that manifesting itself as far as kids' health is concerned?
Oh, well, this is making huge impacts on children's health. Right now, we're seeing children come down with what we used to call adult diseases. Type 2 diabetes, which we often called adult onset diabetes, is now happening in children younger and younger.
Wow.
We're seeing children with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all these risk factors for cardiovascular.
Stuff that we associate with 40-year-olds
Exactly.
just a few years ago.
Yes, sir. Yes. So, it's just very rough to see when you see a young kid come in and they have a high blood pressure and they're 8.
Yeah.
So these are types of problems that we're seeing that are related to obesity.
So what is the cause? What are we thinking is the cause of this?
Well, I think it's a lot of different causes that all come into play here. Our culture has changed, as we all have. We've become much more sedentary than we were, let's say, 50, 60, 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Most of us come home, we have computers and laptops and iPads and fancy phones that we sit and play on instead of getting up and doing things. And I think that has a large part to do with it. Not only to mention with the physical activity, but how we eat has really changed. We're all very, very busy nowadays. It seems like there's not enough time in the day, so we often grab things that are easy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what's easy and also what's easy on the pocket is often very high-fat foods, high-calorie foods that is leading to this problem.
Well, we had we have this playground equipment here. I mean, I grew up in Simonsdale, just a half mile away, back in the 60s and 70s. And, summer evenings, my father would bring us up after supper and we would play until nightfall.
Right.
Many nights during the summer. Are we taking advantage of spots like this?
I would like to say yes, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, a day like today, it is gorgeous here, and we do have families out that are enjoying it. But I don't know, with all the houses that are around this area, we have 5 or 6 children out here.
Right.
So, definitely not everyone's out taking advantage of it, and they should. These are things that the city provides for us absolutely free.
Right.
And, a day like today, there's really, I don't know what your excuse would be
right,
for not coming out
gorgeous.
to come out here. So yes, some of those things are coming into play. A lot of people, due to the economy, are working longer hours, and
Right.
that's also very hard. They drop their kids off at school at 7, they pick them up at 6:30, they try to do homework, they try to get them dinner.
Before you know it's 10 o'clock.
Bed,
and
yeah, exactly.
you're
It's
exhausted.
bedtime.
Yeah.
So I think that is also a part of of this cultural change that we have seen over the years.
Okay, well, what were some things we could do to reverse that then?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with also changing the way we think about our time.
Okay.
You know, I think I'm a new mom. I have an he's 9 months today. And, you know, when I think about after a long day and he's finally in bed, all I want to do is sit down.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily what I probably should do. You know, even taking a nice leisurely stroll around the neighborhood, you know, getting up and doing a little bit of activity in between the commercial breaks of your favorite television shows, that is something.
Yeah.
So we have to start thinking about how we can actually enjoy ourselves, and it doesn't necessarily mean we have to sit on a couch.
Okay.
So getting up and moving.
So we have the holidays coming up. Time we know traditionally for thousands of years was wintertime. People were starving most of the year because the food was growing. They'd fill up and, you know, just feast all winter long. And we still sort of have a culture that we've inherited that.
Yes.
But the reality is different. So what can we do to basically improve our health a little bit during the holidays? What are some changes we can make in our routines as far as eating and movement and exercise?
Well, I think the first thing that you should do is look at your portion sizes. That is a huge issue that we have as Americans. We always think bigger is better, and that's not necessarily the case when it comes to food. So I'm not saying don't eat your turkey and your stuffing and all the wonderful things that come with it, but when you make your plate, it doesn't have to be a mound of food, you know, and you don't have to go back for seconds and thirds and fourths. You know,
maybe pace ourselves. I know everybody in my family gets with me about I swallow my food because I'm always I cannot sit down and leisurely eat. I clean my plate in about 3 minutes.
Right.
So should we take our time?
Definitely.
Smaller portions.
Smaller portions. Do what your mother said. Sit down, chew your food, enjoy it. And again, most of us, I think we just wolf it down as fast as we can because we're thinking on the next thing that we have to do. Especially the holidays, this is the time to sit down and enjoy our family.
Yeah.
So there should be no need to rush and eat. When you sit down, have your plate, and enjoy the time that you have with your family, and engage in some of those conversations that you've missed over the very busy couple of months that you've had.
Right.
And there's also studies that show that children that sit down and have at least a meal with their family, could be breakfast, could be dinner, however your schedule works, that they have better test scores, that they're more engaged with their family, they make better life decisions in general, from health all the way through. So even at that time at Thanksgiving, sitting down with your family and enjoying that time together is important. After that, once you get a few of the food items put away that need to be put away, take that time, especially if it's gorgeous out, and go for, again, a leisurely walk. You don't have to run, you don't have to break a sweat. All you have to do is take a nice leisurely walk with your family, and a walk to where you can still engage in conversation.
It's this time of year too. I mean, you stuffed yourself, you know, with Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, whatever. People are decorating this time of year. Nice time just to walk out, regardless of the weather. You miss chilly, put on your jackets, walk out, look at the lights in the neighborhood.
Exactly. Those are just small things that you can do that really do, over time, make a huge difference. And I think that's what people often have to remember. This is going to take some time.
Because you're talking about changing the way you live.
Right. This is a culture change. You know, this isn't just going to work for the holidays. It's just not going to work for the summertime. If you really want to see long-term healthy results, it's going to take some time. So, you know, if this is something that you kind of make your routine, you know, you get up in the morning and you brush your teeth. Well, after dinner every night you go for a small walk. These are just things that we have to incorporate in.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jessica. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Great tips.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks. Exercise and movement are vital to maintaining good health. When we return, we're going to look at the wide variety of exercise classes that are being offered by the Portsmouth Department of Parks and Recreation. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I took a trip to Elkhart, Indiana today. Elkhart's a place that has lost jobs faster than anywhere else in America. In 1 year, the unemployment rate went from 4.7% to 15.3%. Companies that have sustained this community for years are shedding jobs at an alarming speed. And the people who've lost them have no idea what to do or who to turn to. They can't pay their bills, and they've stopped spending money. And because they've stopped spending money, more businesses have been forced to lay off more workers. In fact, local TV stations have started running public service announcements that tell people where to find food banks, even as the food banks don't have enough to meet the demand.
Welcome back to Portsmouth Now. Exercise is an important part of any healthy lifestyle, regardless of how young one is or how old one is. The Department of Parks and Recreation offers a wide variety of exercise programs for all ages. Recently, we headed over to the Parker Center, where a very large group of energetic seniors were engaged in one of the city's many exercise classes. I joined by Felicia Brown, who is the instructor of the class that we just saw. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I've got to say, I'm a little surprised. I mean, you really worked them for about an hour.
Yes.
In fact, several of them, as they were leaving, said, "She really worked us today."
Yes. Yes.
And then they stick around afterwards and do line dancing.
Yes, we do. And we keep going until I cut the music off.
So, that's fantastic. I'm surprised at the number of people that turned out for this class.
Yes, yes. It's over 150 in this class.
Wow.
Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And that's at Joseph E. Parker Center.
Yes.
Okay. Now you teach how many classes for the Parks and Recreations Department?
I teach about 8 classes.
Okay. Are they all here or are they spread throughout the city?
They're all throughout the city, yes.
Okay. So what are the other things you teach? This was like a senior aerobics type thing?
Right, this was senior aerobics / line dancing. I also do Zumba and I do yoga as well for the city.
Yeah. So is that, are these all senior classes or these for all?
No, it's open for everyone, yes.
Okay, and then there are other classes that the Parks and Recreations Department offers, like circuit training and that sort of thing, too?
Right, I do a Zumba in the circuit on Mondays, and that's here right after class as well. We offer a 2020 fitness class that's at Portsmouth Recreation Center. And then we do Zumba Gold as well. So we do Zumba and Zumba Gold. So we get the high point and the low part of Zumba. So everyone can come and join and jump in and enjoy and have fun.
You look like you're having fun out there.
Yes.
So you really get a workout then. I mean, how many, if you're doing this a couple of times a day, most days of the week, you know, you're really fit.
Thank you.
So why is this important? Why do you think, as a trainer, why is it important that people take advantage of classes like this?
Well, we definitely need to keep our blood flowing and our muscles moving, because once you stop using muscles in anything that you do, once you stop doing something, you tend to lose it. So as we get older, things start to tighten up, things start to get harder to do. So the more that you work out, the more that you keep moving and stretch and tone up and everything, it really helps you in the long run as you get older, because our body naturally starts to, you know, change. So with as we get older.
Yes, I've noticed. Things fall and drop and sag and
yes, so we do a little bit of everything. Just with my seniors, we basically worked our whole body from bottom to top. We stretched and all that good stuff. So we try to do it all, because that's something that we have to keep, doing.
What would you say to somebody, say, who's in their senior? They say they retired and they see this and think that's great for somebody else, but come on, I have trouble walking across the room.
Oh, no.
Why should I even try this?
Well, one, I always tell them to come and at least give it a try, but you take your time. You move on your level. I might be up here moving, but you go on your level of what you know, what you can do.
And I saw that today. We had people here actually in special chairs with, oxygen. And they were sitting there, but they were there doing the moves.
And they know, and some will come and ask me, hey, what can I do sitting down? Or I have some that might just walk. then they might do the beginning, they might do the end, and don't do anything in between. So they're listening to their body as well. So as long as they keep moving and do what their body will allow them to do, it's a big help.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully more and more people will take advantage of this.
Yes.
And
yes.
good luck in what you're doing. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. When we return to Portsmouth Now, we're going to go into the kitchen and learn some tips on how you can make traditional holiday meals more healthy. Stay tuned. Welcome back.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans. These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids. Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. So is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Back to Portsmouth Now. The holidays are just weeks away, and let's be honest, the holidays just aren't the holidays without that traditional holiday food. So we're going to go into the kitchen with Crystal Barber, a nutritionist, and she's going to give us some tips on how to make traditional meals more healthy. I'm visiting Crystal Barber, who has the distinction of having one of the longest, most complex titles of anybody I've ever interviewed. So I'm going to ask you, Crystal, tell us, who do you work for and what is your exact title?
Sure, Rob. I work for Virginia Cooperative Extension in the City of Portsmouth office, and my title is Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Agent.
Okay.
And I'm also a registered dietitian.
All right, and you're going to help us with some tips on traditional holiday meals and things we can do to cut down on calories, sodium, and make things a little bit more healthy.
If you look here, when you want to minimize sugar, you can use the Splenda.
Okay. And that,
okay. Instead of regular sugar. And you help me, Rob. What does it say as far as serving sizes?
Serving size is a teaspoon and there's 0 calories.
Exactly. So you always want to pay attention to the serving size. If you don't, you can get in trouble.
Yeah, because a serving for some people of sugar could be a shovelful.
Exactly.
Okay.
And on that note, let's talk about the cookies. Like I said, you do want to enjoy your holiday eating, but at the same time, be mindful of reducing fat, sugar, and sodium. But then you want to have some goodies, but you want to do it in moderation. So let's just take a look. I have some of these wonderful cookies today. You tell me, what do you think?
Okay, I'm sure this isn't right, but if I have a plate of cookies, a serving would be 6 or 8 cookies.
6 or 8 cookies? Hold that thought.
Okay, most people.
You mean to tell me, Rob?
If I'm at a party at holiday season and there are like trays of cookies out within the evening, yeah, I could easily eat this many cookies from a plate.
Thank you for your honesty.
And it shows.
Getting back to using our tool.
Okay, it's 2 cookies. So 2 of these, and 2 of those is 120 calories. So that's actually quite a bit.
And just enough to give you a nice sugary taste.
But 2 of those cookies is like 5% of your carbohydrates for the day.
So
when you start thinking, you start thinking differently about it. Also, what's the average calorie intake for an adult supposed to be?
2,000 calories.
So if 120 calories out of 2,000 is quite a bit for just 2 little cookies.
Yeah. Some other tips, you use the evaporated milk in baking a lot. And what's so good about it, they have it where you have the whole milk in case you don't want to get all the fat. You can reduce it to a third with the 2% milk, and then you can reduce it to none with the fat-free milk.
Okay. So we probably use lots of chicken broth and stuff for dressings and gravies and all of that. So.
And this is another one where we can look at the label and you see the reduced sodium is 570 milligrams.
As opposed to
860.
Okay, yeah. So that really cuts it down. Now we get to the oils and the fats and things that we're using in all this cooking.
Yes. And the oils that they really promote that are healthy, because they have what you call polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats in it, your plant oils, or the olive oils and canola oils.
As opposed to like corn oil or just oil,
Butter.
generic, or butter.
Butter is a good example. But yes, you're surely absolutely right. And believe it or not, you can also substitute the fat in baking with a mashed banana or applesauce.
One of the traditional, holiday foods here in the South are collard greens, and of course you put lots of ham and stuff in there. I didn't know what a vegetable tasted like unless it had ham in it until I moved out west to college. But are there ways that we can sort of get a good tasting collard dish without having so much fat and ham and all that stuff in it?
There are ways, Rob, where you can minimize the fat and sodium in collard greens. And we're going to taste some of those collard greens today.
Okay.
They were prepared with turkey drumstick that was smoked, and onions, garlic, and a few hot chili peppers, and even a little Splenda was added to take off that strong flavor of collards. Collards are so nutritious. They are high in fiber, vitamin A, they have vitamin C in it, and all of these provide good things for the body. So that's the whole idea, healthy holiday eating. We also have another dish we're going to sample. It's a Mediterranean turkey soup. And a lot of times people call our office and ask what to do with the leftover turkey. So this is a new recipe I wanted to share, and it also is packed with a lot of nutrients.
Well, the Mediterranean diet is supposed to be one of the healthiest diets on earth.
Oh, it is. Nuts, beans, and olive oil.
Yep. And so all that's in this?
Yes.
Okay, great.
All righty.
Well, I'm ready to eat.
Okay, let's go for it.
All right, something smells good.
Yes.
Oh my, it's a big pot.
It is. It's really too big for what's in here.
Oh, wow. I'll hold that for you.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of meat in there. And it looks like ham, but this is smoked turkey.
It's smoked turkey.
So that means a lot less fat and
A lot less fat.
protein and all that, more of that. Wow. That looks delicious.
All righty, we have one more item.
Okay. And this is the Mediterranean turkey soup?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow, that looks really good too. I'm going to try some of this, can I?
Okay, sure.
You want some?
Sure.
There you go. Wow. That is seasoned so well. My gosh, that is great. Forget the cookies, I could eat the whole bowl of this right here. This is really great.
And it serves as a great appetizer as you're waiting for your traditional holiday meal.
Well, heck, forget the appetizer. Maybe forget this appetizer. This would be a great meal just in itself. That is so flavorful. That really is good. And I'm going to try the collards.
It yields a lot of meat.
And I guess because it's smoked, it really does. It has a ham-like flavor. You get the same effect.
It does.
That's so good. It's so fresh and crisp and wow, it's great.
Glad you like it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Got to stop eating and finish the show. Now, if people want these recipes, they can get them by contacting the office here, can't they?
They can.
Okay. So what website should they go to to find the contact information?
They can go to www.ext.vt.edu and click on the City of Portsmouth office.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Alrighty.
Really,
Thank you.
really have enjoyed this, and I'm really going to enjoy eating that.
Okay, that's what we want.
Yeah. Well, that's our show for today. With the holidays approaching, there are dozens and dozens of special events taking place in Portsmouth. To find out about any of them, simply log on to www.portsvaevents.com. Then come to Portsmouth, where if you give us a day, we'll give you a vacation. Until next time, I'm Rob Lauer.